Fragmentation is one of the main characteristics of modernity. Divide and conquer tends to be the main heuristic to tackle complex problems. It has been a quite successful strategy to develop science and foster technology. However, at the same time, it is the source of many unintended and undesirable consequences of human development, from global warming to social inequality. The prevalence of analytic over synthetic thinking is connatural to the paradigm of modernity. Etymologically, to analyze means to divide, make a cut, to separate. But by doing this, we are losing any emergent property of the relationships that constitute the whole we are studying. This is why systemic thinking is gaining so much importance as a way to overcome fragmentation nowadays. In a highly interconnected world we are living, fragmented thinking is a recipe for disaster because problems are shown as unsolvable dilemmas. The current management of COVID-19 pandemic is a dramatic example. For instance, many governments ask themselves what should be the right path to follow, either a quarantine to protect people's lives with the risk of shutting down the economy, or maintaining companies running with the risk of increasing rates of infection. Clearly, a more systemic and comprehensive approach that dissolves this kind of dilemmas is needed. It is widely accepted that complex problems cannot be fully understood from a specific discipline. We say that we need an interdisciplinary way of thinking to tackle them. However, it seems important to make a few distinctions before attempting to explore the role of higher education to promote a non-fragmented way of thinking and acting. We say that multidisciplinarity draws on knowledge from different disciplines, but stays within their boundaries. It is additive. It brings together people from different disciplines to contribute in solving particular issues of their discipline in which the complex problem has been divided into. Interdisciplinarity, on the other hand, analyzes, synthesizes, and harmonizes links between disciplines into a coordinated and coherent whole. It is interactive. People from different disciplines contribute to the coherent understanding of the complex problem from its own disciplinary training. Transdisciplinarity, however, goes beyond disciplines. It means to integrate disciplines in a humanistic context, transcending their traditional boundaries. It is holistic. It brings people originally trained in a particular discipline, but who is willing to understand the complex problem they are facing from the perspective of others' disciplinary viewpoints, with the aim of developing a new, innovative way of common understanding. The primary task they have to tackle as a group is to co-create a language to describe the complex problem they are facing. In other words, transdisciplinarity is a new way of thinking and acting that requires the ability to co-create new contextual languages to face complex problems. It is not about learning others' disciplinary languages. It is not about working with other disciplines. It is about transcending them. But having said that, how can higher education contribute to their development? Well, we offer a proposal as a way to start a necessary dialogue about multidisciplinarity. According to the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, the purpose of higher education is twofold. On the one hand, to educate the new generations to be effective professionals that could contribute to the social and economic development of their countries. And, on the other hand, to produce knowledge that can be useful for such development. In other words, students are trained to know how to play the rules of the market to pursue for a better quality of life. However, if we take an anthropocenetic perspective of our future, we need to go beyond a market-oriented educational system towards a more ethically sustainable education that permeates society. So, the purpose of higher education as a system could be, in the one hand, to prepare good world citizens that will adequately perform in the different social roles they will assume throughout their lives. One of these roles, of course, is as professionals, but certainly this is not the only role they will play in society. On the other hand, universities should co-produce knowledge with different communities that can be transformed into social agency. All this with the aim of contributing to a better social well-being. If we take this broader perspective for the role of a higher education institution, a university, for instance, and we incorporate the need to promote a transdisciplinary thinking and acting as part of its ethos, we need to radically transform the three traditional main primary activities of universities: teaching, researching, and extension. Regarding the first one, it is not enough to use new pedagogies like problem-based learning, PBL, or project-based approaches, PBA, to show students the need to connect their disciplinary learning to non-disciplinary problems. These methods are being used by many universities worldwide. However, we also need to change the traditional way universities are organized in departments and schools, which are disciplinary driven. We need to explore new organizational forms to overcome this disciplinary fragmentation inside universities. This is a consequence of applying the Conant-Ashby theorem to this organizational problem. Every good regulator of a system, in this case a transdisciplinary role, must be a model of that system. Therefore, a change in organizational structure is needed. Some examples of new innovative ways of structuring universities are Singularity University and the Minerva project, to mention only two. Regarding the second primary activity, that is research, it is also not enough to produce and publish new knowledge. It is necessary to involve other communities different from the academic ones in this process. It seems natural to include companies, public institutions, ONGs, and other communities in a process of co-construction of knowledge when we are approaching complex problems that involves them. Problems like massive mobility in a city, unequal wealth distribution in a country, drug trafficking drug trafficking in the Caribbean nations, forced displacement of thousands of immigrants from Asia to Europe, global warming and management of COVID pandemic are examples of this kind of problems. All of these are non-disciplinary complex problems. And to effectively tackle them, it seems that we need more than an interdisciplinary approach. We need to legitimately involve stakeholders in the process of knowledge production. They should not be taken only as users or clients of this process. We need to define with them what needs to be researched. It is a research done not for a community, but a research done with a community. That is precisely why this kind of approach is commonly known as community-based research, whose roots, by the way, are in the work of the Colombian social researcher Orlando Falsborda and the Brazilian educator Paulo Freire. But it seems that we also need to change the way we structure the research process. We propose that instead of a disciplinary problem-solving research, we use a mission-oriented approach in line with the work of Mariana Mazzucato from University College London. By stating long-term missions, like taking a man or a woman to the moon and bringing him or her back safely in the following 10 years, Kennedy started a national movement that joined a country to fulfill a common dream. This nationwide vision allowed the synergistic work of thousands of people coming from different disciplines, whose outcomes transcended any of each discipline and created many new technologies that impacted other fields with unexpected consequences. Many of them were used to improve the quality of social life worldwide. Others, however, were unfortunately misused to produce harm, which, by the way, suggests a need for a set of principles to establish a boundary to this approach. But a mission-oriented research is also a strategy that puts aside the use of traditional calls for bid to compete for scarce resources, which are clearly an instance of a zero-sum game. What some win, other loses. A call for a mission, instead, is a call for building a transdisciplinary alliance in which everyone wins. It is a positive sum game. Furthermore, it is a research approach in which social impact is not measured years after the research is completed. Instead, this impact is achieved throughout the process itself, because the process is producing social transformations along its way. So the process is the aim, not the outcome. Finally, to accomplish a mission defined locally, regionally, nation or worldwide, it is crucial to transform new knowledge into agency. That implies that universities have a crucial role in setting up the conditions of possibility or capabilities, following Martha Nussbaum's work, for this agency to happen. But to develop these capabilities in its environment, universities need to extend themselves to lead the constitution of an ecology of organizations, as the latest work of Raúl Espejo suggests. This transdisciplinary approach for higher education opens a dialogue to move forward towards a more socially responsible teaching and research. Universities must recover the main social role they used to play in the past. They should not continue to be neither another institution to play a passive role in a market-oriented society, nor an ivory tower whose research is not directly connected to the complex social problems we are facing. The Sustainable Development Goals could be the practical link to this approach. But furthermore, they are the ethical underpinning of the mission-oriented research in the near future.